This is the story of the Lantern who managed to wield all the power rings from every core and became one of the most powerful beings in the universe. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video we're going to see how the most unlikely Green Lantern gained the power of all the core of the emotional spectrum. So don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss videos like this, and let's get started. The story begins many years ago when the brave Green Lantern Corps suffered its greatest defeat. OA lies in ruins, and the Guardians of the Universe are all dead except for one. Somehow, Ganthet manages to stay on his feet, and he vows that the sacrifice of his brothers will not be in vain. With that, he summons all his willpower to forge one last power ring and sends it out to find someone worthy of wielding it. The chosen one this time is Rayner, a freelance comic book artist who's hanging out at a bar with his friends. When he steps into an alley, he meets Ganthet, who transforms him into a Green Lantern. Kyle quickly masters the ring's powers almost instantly, leading Ganthet to realize he made the right choice. But what would truly confirm Kyle's worthiness as a Lantern would come with the events that followed. Now we jump to the present, where a member of the Sinestro Corps, or the Yellow Lanterns, is effortlessly destroying a group of Khunds, an alien race. Suddenly, his power ring abandons him. It slips off the Yellow Lantern's hand and announces that it has found a replacement. Taking advantage of the situation, the Khunds seize their chance and brutally kill the Yellow Lantern. At the same time, on the planet Crew, a member of the Red Lantern Corps is in a total rage, wreaking havoc across the land. However, the same thing happens. His power ring leaves him to search for a new bearer. Without the ring's abilities to keep him alive, the Red Lantern also meets his demise. Elsewhere, a Violet Lantern, better known as a Star Sapphire, is protecting a family from a group of space pirates. But again, inexplicably, her ring proclaims she's been dismissed and flies away. She's left powerless in the vacuum of space and would have died if not for another Star Sapphire who arrives just in time to save her sister. This new Star Sapphire vows to track down whoever is responsible and make them pay, reminding everyone why she was once called Fatality. While all this chaos unfolds in space, back on Earth, a crane operator is happily chatting on the phone about how he just spotted a Green Lantern flying by. However, he makes a mistake, causing the crane to collapse onto the street below. Luckily, Rayner is nearby and quickly generates massive worker constructs to save the day. With everything under control, Kyle takes a moment to chat with the crowd, being the kind of hero who's friends with everyone. He's even kind to a little boy who says he prefers Hal Jordan and thinks Kyle's suit looks like pajamas. But then, out of nowhere, a Blue Lantern ring appears and declares that Kyle has been chosen to join the Blue Lantern Corps. And that's not all. The blue ring is followed by rings from all the other corps. Yes, yellow, red, pink, violet, orange, all the rings declare Kyle as their new bearer. Naturally, Kyle understands that this can't be a good sign, a suspicion confirmed when he's suddenly confronted by a representative from each corps. They all want revenge for the theft of their rings. Poor Kyle doesn't even have time to explain that he had nothing to do with this, as all the lanterns attack him. He can only mutter that whoever set him up is going to pay dearly. The Star Sapphire is the only one to ask how a Green Lantern managed to steal a power ring from each of the different corps. Kyle tries to explain that the rings came to him on their own and that they're free to take them back. But everyone insists he's lying, and a massive battle ensues. Bleeze, the Red Lantern, is the first to attack, spewing her acidic blood. Kyle dodges and flies off, trying to move the fight away from civilians. However, Arkillo, the Yellow Lantern, grabs him by the leg and slams him into the ground, sending him crashing into an underground train line. When Arkillo tries to grab the yellow ring, thinking that's what Kyle wants, that they take the rings and leave, the yellow ring turns against Arkillo, blasting him with a powerful surge of energy that leaves him writhing in pain. When Kyle returns to the surface, he sees Bleeze, the Red Lantern, trapped in a violet crystal. Naturally, it's the work of the star Sapphire, who also encases Kyle in a similar crystal. But suddenly, an external force begins supercharging Kyle's green ring, allowing him to gather enough energy to shatter the crystal and free himself. The one helping Kyle escape is the Blue Lantern Saint Walker. Unlike the others, Saint Walker decides to give Kyle the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't come to fight. He's searching for a rogue blue ring and assures the others that everything will work out in the end. Of course, the lanterns from the other corps aren't satisfied with this. While Kyle and Saint Walker head toward OA to find Ganthet, they are relentlessly pursued by the other lanterns. During their journey, Kyle explains that he has no idea why he suddenly became a magnet for the rings. Saint Walker, while equally clueless, reassures him that Ganthet will know the reason behind this bizarre situation, especially when it comes to the orange ring. After all, there's only one of those, and if it's here with Kyle, its original owner might be dead. Moments later, Kyle finally arrives at the citadel of the Guardians of the Universe, hoping to get answers about what's going on. However, something seems off. First, the Guardians behave aggressively, demanding to know how Kyle came into possession of all these rings. Second, Ganthet is cold and emotionless, acting as though he no longer feels anything at all. It turns out the Guardians removed Ganthet's emotions, claiming they interfered with his judgment. In other words, they lobotomized him, which leaves Kyle furious. He shouts that the Guardians have gone too far, but in response, the Guardians demand to know how Kyle obtained the rings. Kyle tries to explain that he has no idea, which is exactly why he came to OA. He wants to find out what these rings want from him. At that moment, the rings simply respond that he was chosen. This only makes the Guardians more angry. They believe Kyle is lying and move toward him, wanting to remove the rings and start an intense interrogation. However, at that moment, all the rings from all the corps suddenly insert themselves onto Kyle's fingers, and there's nothing he can do. As he himself says, he didn't come there to fight, but it's too late. Since all the rings chose him to become the newest member of each corps at the same time, Kyle undergoes a massive transformation, making him more powerful than ever. With this immense power, Kyle then turns against the Guardians. He says that the Guardians forced him into this, and if they want these rings so badly, then they can come and take them. The Guardians are completely shocked at this sight. A human should not be able to wield the entire emotional spectrum, but Ganthet knows that Kyle is not an ordinary human. What follows is a complete defeat for the Guardians. Kyle begins using the powers of each of the rings simultaneously, something never seen before, and he gives the Guardians a massive beating. Even as some lanterns beg Kyle to stop, the Green Lantern has no intention of doing so, stating that the Guardians lost their loyalty the moment they removed Ganthet's emotions. The Guardians use everything they have to attack the Green Lantern, but even with all of the Guardians' combined powers, Kyle manages to defend himself and counterattack with perfect precision, knocking them down again. Clearly, Kyle is out of his mind. So much so that he says the Guardians always feared that someone like him would gather all the rings and experience the true power in a way they never had. However, at that moment, Kyle starts to feel something strange. He begins bleeding heavily, and the rings seem to be collapsing from the power each is exerting on the others. Kyle feels excruciating pain until suddenly the rings announce that they are shutting down, and in the end, they destroy each other, causing Kyle to return to normal. Seeing this, Ganthet explains that Krona, the Mad Guardian, accomplished what Kyle just attempted. For a brief moment, Krona controlled all the colors, but Krona was immortal. Kyle was foolish to think he could bear such power. Because of his insubordination and violent actions, the Guardians remove Kyle's status, claiming that he is no longer a Green Lantern. But the ring refuses to leave Kyle's finger and even hurts the Guardian who tries to remove it. This makes the Guardians realize that of all the rings Kyle used, only the green ring and, surprisingly, the orange ring remain. Then, the Guardians begin to investigate the orange ring until suddenly it transforms into a huge monster. That's when the truth comes to light. That was never a ring, it was just a construct from the Orange Lantern. This leads the Guardians to deduce that the Orange Lantern Larfleeze is behind all of this chaos. It might have been him who sent the other rings as well. Kyle believes this doesn't make sense, since Larfleeze would never give up his power ring. To make matters worse, this is when all the lanterns from earlier who wanted to reclaim their rings appear. These lanterns join forces to attack the Guardians, but there's no way around it. One by one, they are easily defeated by the Guardians, who are much more powerful than them. The confrontation ends with all the lanterns, including Kyle, lying defeated, while the Guardians boast about their power, reinforcing that everything here belongs to them. But at that moment, the true enemy appears. A massive construct collapses from the ceiling, crashing down on one of the Guardians, as Larfleeze, the orange agent, appears surrounded by orange constructs, correcting the Guardian's statement. He claims that, in fact, they all belong to him. And that's it, guys. Kyle Rayner was the only mortal to ever wield all the power rings. Leave your thoughts in the comments about this story, and if you'd like to see the continuation. Don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Hit the notification bell and stay up to date with all the latest news. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.